How are you doing today? This is episode 2 of the End Goal podcast. Who am I? And in this video, I kind of want to talk to you guys a little bit about my successes and failures. I'm obviously breaking them up, but in this video, I want to talk about my educational successes and failures because, not unfortunately, but that is predominantly the first 21 years of my life was education, was just in the education system, just chilling in the education system. Not like, and there's anything wrong with that, right? So, your boy, right, who is Arish when it comes to education. I was a smart ego little kid. That was basically me. I was smart and I had a high ego. Misplaced ego, mind you. Let's start there. Backtrack, let's start somewhere else. I am a cookie cutter product of the education system, is what they tell you is possible with the education system, right? Went to high school. I did dual credit AP courses. I applied to colleges. I got into college. I had a business major. I got an internship. I graduated with honors, graduated with my master's, graduated magna cum laude, got my CPA license, got a job right out of college. Technically got extended because of COVID, but got a job right out of college. And then during college, I did other things as well. So I'm an example of what they tell you is like, oh, go to college, you'll have fun, you'll do these things. Oh, when you're in school, you should do these things because it'll help you on your allocations. Oh, you should take these classes and do these exams because it'll help you. I did a lot of those things, right? I also grew up in a small town, so I didn't do things like debate. I didn't do things like heavy sports and things like that because I just wasn't into it. I didn't have a competitive bone in my body. I just got good grades because that's all I knew growing up. So the ideas and the questions that I want to pose to you guys coming out of this are a couple of things, right? I want to backtrack to high school real quickly. I'm 25 years old, so I have a little bit of time left to leverage my high school childhood experience until I get too old to leverage that kind of shit. So where I want to start is kind of high school and kind of one of the first few lessons that I learned about myself. And that's a lesson of ego. In high school, I was at that point where I felt like I was a pretty intelligent person, that I could, get good grades, wasn't super hard. I could study for a little bit, get A's, do whatever I needed to do. And in a lot of classes, I had friends or other classmates who would call me over to their desk and ask me to help them with, homework and things like that. Backtracking all the way to middle school, I actually had a kid who asked me to do his homework a couple of times, and I did. And this is where every single person who hears this is going to say, Arish, you goddamn idiot. I didn't take his money. I was like, nah, dude, it's fine. I just want to help out. Your friendship is enough. I was that kid. Oh, I cringe every time I think about that memory because I was so socially awkward and thought I was alone and thought I didn't have a lot of friends. And so whenever people would ask me for help, things like that I should have taken money for, I didn't at all. There's not even a thought in mind of me trying to do that. So going into high school, I obviously never did that. I also never tutored people. I just helped people. I never made tutoring into a thing. I just helped people when they needed to be helped. So what happened was my ego started inflating. Everybody would ask me for help before they asked the teacher, because a lot of the times teachers don't really know how to actually help you and how to teach you. A lot of times people would ask me for help, and I would very willingly help anybody I could, sharing notes, helping with the answers, etc., trying to explain whatever it is. But then it got time to take the test. And there's a second thing I learned about myself was as big of an ego as I had, I was an awful test taker. As much as I knew all of the answers, I would rush, I would get ahead of myself, I would, not show your work, blah, blah, blah. And I would make lesser grades than the people that I was helping get better grades. And that was a big lesson for me in terms of, one, humility. Two, it was the first time that I realized that I have an ego that is easily bruised and sensitive. So that's not a good kind of ego. Third, I put a lot of weight into what people thought about me as well. So taking all those lessons throughout high school, I joined accounting UIL University and Scholastic League. It was like an exam. You basically, it's like a competition with like other schools. It was accounting. I just tried it because people in my family are accountants, and I thought, well, let me see if I like accounting to go into like what I want, go into a career. But because I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, by the way, I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life until like sophomore, junior year of high school, which is completely fine. If you don't know what you're doing with your life right now, same. The thing there was that I also got an inflated ego because of accounting, because my instructor, because nobody really took accounting UIL seriously, at least in our like area. So my instructor was very good in terms of teaching us all the basics, and we just had to pass the exam, kind of questions you would see on these like competition exams. So our school generally would place higher than most other schools, and by my senior year of high school, I was placing top. Like I was placing first, because not that many other people actually studied. They just wanted to be in a UIL event to get out of school and stuff. So they would just like plug people into accounting and things like that. So I thought, okay, accounting sounds doable, because I was also understanding the material. So it sounds doable. And I was coming time to apply for universities. And this is the second hard lesson of my life. There are more, but this is the second educational hard lesson of my life. I only applied to 2 universities. They tell you to apply to a ton, right? I only applied to 2. University of Texas at Austin, University of Texas at Dallas. I did not get into Austin, even though I thought, because everybody was telling me that you're a shoo-in to get into Austin's business school, you got this. I took it lightly, didn't prep properly, didn't do the right work, didn't put in enough work, and I just expected something to be handed to me to an extent. Didn't get in. I got into UTD, just didn't get into UT Austin. My sister got into UT Austin, but for journalism and stuff. And this is where, one, I finally was not going to follow my sister's footsteps for something. 2, my ego took a massive kick in the nuts. And 3, I thought that life was like over in a sense. I was like, you didn't get into Austin. You suck. You're stupid. You're dumb. But what I did not realize is that life gave me an opportunity to make a mistake, which I did make, and I had a chance to learn from it, which I didn't, and I joined UTD. But if I had not joined UTD, I would not be sitting in front of you today with the kind of person that I am. If I had not joined University of Texas Dallas, done the things I did there, I would not be the person I am today. So in that sense, that mistake made my life 100 times better, because of everything that I've been able to do since then. If I'd gone to Austin, who knows what I would be like, right? I would not have met my fiance, met the brothers in my town right here who I dance with, met my close college friends and close work friends. I would not have met any of them. I probably would not have gotten the work opportunities that I did if I hadn't gone there. So that's the 4th lesson that I learned in the education system is, as I guess this more translates to life. It's just I learned it through this kind of stuff, or through this educational like part of my life, that even if you fail at something, there's a lesson in there. But not just a lesson, there could be a doorway in there that could lead to something completely new. Because when you fail at something, it causes you to do something else, to either make up for that failure or just do something else entirely, because that failure blocked that pathway for you forever. And so now you have to find a new path. And I found a new path, and it was at this new college, at this new university. So getting to university, I'm doing the usual things, right? I did AP in high school, so a good amount of classes were dealt with, a good amount weren't. So I was doing classes, blah, blah, blah. College wasn't super hard. College was not a hard thing for me. Some classes were. Economics, I'm absolute ass at. But in general, college was not necessarily super hard. So I spent a lot of time doing other things besides studying, which was dancing, gaming, trying to like make friends, etc. And I get through my 4 years of bachelor's. I get into the accounting cohort that I wanted to get in. I get into an internship that I wanted to get in, which I'm going to get to the internship life cycle here in a second. But I graduated with honors. I got into a 5-year master's program, graduated with a master's in my 5th year. And here's the next lesson that I learned, right? When I was in my master's, I got an email saying you qualified to graduate with magna cum laude, which is like a certain GPA threshold that you have that qualifies you for graduating with the honorific magna cum laude. And there's 3 tiers to it, right? Cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude. Cum laude is like level 1, magna cum is better, level 2, summa cum is best, level 3. And because I had like a mid-range GPA in that sense, it was magna cum laude. And I told my parents that. They were very happy for me. They were very supportive, etc. And I remember my mother telling me, "Why don't you try for summa cum laude?" I said, "There's no way I'm going to get it." She's like, "Well, you can always try." And I looked at her. And I always felt really bad for this, but this is the lesson that I learned that I really wanted to impart. I looked at her. I said, "There's no mathematical or statistical way for me to go from magna cum laude to summa cum laude in the time frame that I have because of how the math works. I cannot get enough 4.0s for my GPA to increase to put me over the threshold. I am not getting that." And I had to stop it right there because I did not want to spend time doing something that, 1, did not matter to me, and 2, would never work. Like, why would I spend time doing something that would never work only at the end to say, yeah, well, that didn't work? It just didn't make sense, right? It just does not make sense to do that. So I ended up I graduated with magna cum, kept my grades up, whatever it is, and I did other things. So that's one thing I really want to stress to you guys is think about, is what you're doing, 1, does it matter to you? And 2, does it matter at all? And 3, is it actually going to work? Can it work? Obviously, life is not the same as education, where there are numbers and formulas and grades that go into GPAs, that go into all these things. Life is much more fluid than that. It is immensely more fluid than that. But it can still apply to life in terms of, is what I'm doing right now going to work, or do I need to change something, or do I need to stop? That's a very, very hard thing to go through, is to tell yourself, I've spent so much time doing something, I have to stop because it's not working, or I have to stop and don't try this again because it's not working. That is a very hard thing to do. I completely get it, but it is important to do because there's no other way you're going to improve if you don't do that. Because if you stop doing that, that gives you more time and energy to do something else that may actually work, right? So that was my magna cum story. Now, we're going to backtrack a little bit to sophomore year of college when I had to find an internship for the summer. Basically, I grew up in a small town. I moved to University of Texas at Dallas, and I stayed on campus all 5 years of my time there. Literally did not move except from the dorm to the apartment. Then stayed in the same apartment for all 4 years after that. Because 1, I'm a homebody and I don't like moving around a lot. 2, I'm lazy and I don't want to move around a lot. 3, I don't want to go back to my hometown because there's nothing for me to do there. There's things for me to do in this area where there's actually people that I enjoy hanging out with, because none of my high school friends were even really in town like that. Plus, I didn't really want to hang out with them. I wanted to hang out with these people just because they're people that I'd recently connected with and my current interests align with them. So I was trying to find something to do in the summer. Freshman year, or the summer after freshman year, I was an orientation leader. Met amazing people, really pulled me out of my shell a little bit. Great opportunity, great experience. I'm glad I pushed myself into it. But I had 3 more summers left to do something. And I had no clue what I was going to do, right? So the only thing that came to mind as a business business major was get an internship. And that's when the rest of my life started. I was looking at accounting internships, tax internships to be specific, because I went into accounting thinking consulting. Called my sister one day. I was like, yeah, I'm thinking consulting. And she was like, that's a lot of traveling, right? I said, what do you mean? She's like, yeah, consultants literally travel every week for something. Depending on what their job is, they travel a lot. I was like, oh, fuck that. No, I don't want to travel. I'm a homebody. Tax it is. Let's go with taxes instead. That sounds like the boring thing that I would like to do. So I was basically a tax specification. So I was looking at tax internships, wasn't really finding what I wanted. And there's a little story behind this that I want to tell you guys in a second. I ended up going to a professor of mine who I'd had the semester before and asked him, like, are there any like internships open at certain like companies? What companies should I be looking at? What firms should I be looking at? What positions should I be looking at, etc. And he said he basically said this: I have some representatives from PricewaterhouseCoopers coming, PwC, it's a Big Four accounting firm. I have representatives from them coming to see or to talk to my class about an internship opportunity they have in the summer. Why don't you come and sit in on it? Even though, because I had a professor last semester, I was not in his class anymore, but I'm trying to leverage that connection to see can I get some help here. But here's the thing, right? His class started at 7 a.m. in the morning. That was the class time that day. It was a Tuesday. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, 7 a.m. I'll be there. Here's the next thing I want to talk to you guys about, right? And the idea here is to do whatever it takes to get what you want. I don't think I had classes that day on that Tuesday, right? So I would have to wake up early and go to this class that I had no reason to be in just to listen to people talk about an internship that I was interested in. And a guy like me generally would not do that, right? I'm an early riser, sure, but a guy like me would not do that. He would just stay at home and play games. But that day, that time frame, I was like, no, I really want this, right? PwC is a place I'm going to go. This internship could be my opening to there. I need it. So I woke up at 7 a.m., bright and early, got into class, front and center, literally front row, because I'm that kind of kid. And I just listened, heard them talk, what they said. I was intrigued, I was interested, and I wanted to go forth. I wanted to go forward with it. So the next thing I did, which I don't know what you guys think about this, but I thought about it differently, right? When you're applying for an internship, applying for any job application, right? There's a pool of applicants you're competing with for a position, right? Makes sense. It is technically a competition for you to basically show somebody, I am worth hiring over these other people. But your boy thought, it would be really fun to intern with my friends who are also doing tax. So I told my friends about this opportunity because a lot of them would not have heard of it if I had not told them. You're probably thinking, all right, why the hell would you do that? I just wanted to have fun with friends, to be honest. Pause. I just wanted to have a fun time doing a tax internship with friends. I wasn't thinking about the fact that, like, if I told them and then they got hired over me, would that have technically been self-sabotage? I didn't think so because I was confident I was going to get in. I was confident I could show my worth in an interview and show somebody that I'm worth hiring. So I was just doing it I just thought it'd be fun. Turns out a good amount of my friends applied, got the interview. I interviewed with one of them, and about 5 of us, I believe, 5 or 6 of us got the internship, which was super cool. And I thought it was super worth it because now there's an experience that I can share with friends that isn't going out and partying and getting wasted. And it was an internship that I can do with friends, and we can kind of like relate on something. And that was how I got my first internship for the summer after my sophomore year. And then I had that same internship the next summer. Then I had another internship in the following spring, and then I got a full-time offer. So there's lessons here in each part of it, right? Another lesson I wanted to talk about in terms of the internship story is that was obviously the first one, which was, do what matters, do whatever it takes to get what you want, right? If you got to wake up early, you got to wake up early. If you got to go do something you don't want to do in order to get the end result, do something you don't want to do to get the end result. That is all that matters, is you do what you need to do to get what you want and get to where you're going. Second thing was do what feels fun, right? Take the actions, take the course of actions that feel fun, right? It doesn't have to be boring. It does not have to be serious. It does not have to be a large thing. Just make it fun, right? Do what you think would be fun. I thought interning with friends would be fun, so I told them about it, and then we all got in. I thought, obviously applying for a paid internship would be better than applying for an unpaid internship, so I never once applied for an unpaid internship. I didn't even click on unpaid internship applications. Now you're probably thinking, you're a sophomore. Most of these people want juniors that think that they can get internships to right out of college. Why would they even hire you as a sophomore? And I'm like, you're right. If I had applied, if I actually had gone through like actual applications, I probably would not have gotten most of them at all, because they wanted juniors. And then maybe I would have had to default to the unpaid ones just to like get some experience. But I was like, no. Why would I spend my time not getting paid for something when I'm trying to get paid to do something and learn, right? Not happening. So I did it. I basically, once again, did what I wanted to do, did whatever it took, and got it done. And it can be that easy. The third lesson, I don't know why I said third. I think I meant like third segment of lessons that I'm like basically talking about through these successes and failures here. I had utmost belief in myself, both when I failed and when I succeeded, right? I was so sure I would do these things, failed. I was so sure I was going to do these things again, failed. I was so sure I was going to do this, success. Yes, I have an ego. I have buried my ego so far down just throughout because of like my educational life. I've buried my ego so far down that only up until I think the last 2 years have I let it like come to the surface of the waters, in a sense, because I started experiencing life more, and I was like, I want to do cool shit. I want to do cool things, and I can only do that if I have utmost belief in myself that I can do them and that I'm the person who needs to do them. That's what I thought. That's the kind of mentality I had each time I succeeded too. That's the mentality I had when I got my internship. That's the mentality I had when I got my master's. That's the mentality I had when I got my magna cum. That's the mentality I had when I studied for my CPA exams and passed all 6 CPA exams in 6 months. Is I'm smart as fuck. I can do this. This is easy. This is not hard. We got this. No skips. Not failing at all. Failing is not an option because it is not a possibility for me. That's what I would tell myself and talk to myself as. Also, obviously, anxiety comes in. You get, unsure, uncertain, anxious about certain things. But then my brain would get through that anxiety with just like basically slapping the anxiety in the face and saying, no, that's stupid. That doesn't make sense. Don't be an idiot. I talk harshly to myself. I was like, don't be a fucking idiot. Get the work done and it'll be fine. It will be fine. A lot of what I told myself in life has been, it will be fine. So those are a little bit of the successes and failures in my educational life up until now. A lot at the beginning was failures. A lot of my earlier years were failures because that's when you're growing and learning. But then once I learned from them and I adapted, a lot of the times it became more and more success. And I'm grateful for that because that taught me a lesson of time as well, in terms of we do a lot of things early on and we fail so that when we do them again in the future, we don't fail. It's just that easy. That being said, I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you watching another episode of the End Goal Podcast. This one was talking about my educational failures and successes. If you have any comments, thoughts, or concerns about this episode, any questions that you have for me, please feel free to leave them in the video comments or in the Spotify podcast comment section, whatever it is. Send me a ping on Instagram. Ask me anything you want, ever. I'm always open for discussion. I appreciate you listening once again, and I will see you in the next video. Take it easy.